Purpose of life. நிறைய பேர் வந்து we all are very confused on what's the purpose of life. Few of us don't even have the time to think about what's the purpose of life because we are stuck in relationship, we are stuck with work, we are stuck with health. There are just too many things which are holding us down. நம்மளுக்கு வந்து purpose of life பத்தி யோசிக்க முடியாது. But you know what's the truth? உங்களுக்கு purpose of life ஓட ஆன்சர் கிடைச்சிருச்சுனா you will never be stuck. The purpose of life is very simple. நீங்க நினைச்ச மாதிரி the way you want to live, the way you want to experience things socially, physically and emotionally to the maximum possibility. If you can experience life, that is the purpose of life. Now let me explain. நம்மளோட நிறைய part of the time we spend on thoughts. First let's understand how thoughts come to us. First, I have lot of identities. இப்போ என் பேர் கார்த்திக். I am a man. I am a CEO of certain company. I am so and so's son, so and so's boyfriend, so and so's brother. இந்த மாதிரி 100 identities I carry. The moment I wake up and I live in this world, each thing I see, my mind validates as whether this is a pro-survival or anti-survival of those identities. Now, ஒரு identity-க்கும் your body is trying to survive. So, let's say for example, I get a message saying that there is a cricket match tomorrow. Suddenly, the cricketer in me gets very excited and starts living this moment in cricket. Or let's say there is bad news, there is someone dying somewhere very far. Sudden identity of this human identity that there is another human being dying, எனக்கு ஒரு compassion வரும். So, all these thoughts are basically survival instincts which make us feel happy or sad based on whether it is pro-survival or anti-survival. Now, this thought, how does it control us? It controls us through emotions. We have 9 types of emotions. Very types of emotions, but navarasam. They say, happiness, sadness, greed, lust, all these things, right? Now, these emotions are controlled by hormones. And all these things together make you experience life as if it is by a matrix. I'll tell you how to come out of the matrix. Now, if you have identities only, you have thoughts, right? Suppose your identities slowly start eliminating identities, which means if you think cricketer is an identity, any news which comes related to cricket, start observing that news. When you start just observing it, you'll realize that that news is deciding whether you're happy or not. Now, let's say there is some other news which is related to work. When the moment that news comes, that decides whether I am happy or sad today. Now, that is controlling you. If so many things are controlling you, first separate from identities. You are not any of these identities. Now, if you separate yourself from these identities, one thing which definitely happens, your survival process goes for a toss, which means that you become very confident that identity vanda irukattum pona pottum, lovera irunda irukattum pona pottum, ulagathila edho onu nadakradha nadakattum pona pottum. Though it looks like a very selfish way of living, but this is your first step to understand yourself. Now, if all those identities are there, oh, I will be alone, அப்படிங்கிற பயம் வரும் உங்களுக்கு. No, do this experiment. If you are surrounded by a lot of people and you can't live alone, the first experiment to do is travel alone. Live in a hostel. If you have work in another city, take a chance and work in another city. Because at some point in your life, you will realize you come alone, you go alone. Point number 2, if your tendency has control over you, you are a foodie, you just can't stop yourself from food, try this. Before eating food, spend some time around the food. Just take a pause. Don't try to eat the food immediately. Just by creating the distance, you're separating yourself from that entity. Now let's say you're in love. Every time your lover messages, you want to reply back immediately. Or if she doesn't message or he doesn't message, you get a headache because every day, the whole day, you will be thinking about why that person didn't message. Now that is holding you hostage. Give that time. Whether they reply or not, talk or not, figure out if you can be happy. Now, if you do these things, what you will realize is nothing in this world can have control over you. Nothing. Not your religion, not your politics, not people, not your surrounding. Apne aap mein moj mein rahenge. You get it? நம்மளே சந்தோஷமா இருப்போம், நம்மளுக்கு வேலை வெளியில எதுவுமே தேவையில்லை. But the moment you start becoming like this, the whole world will come towards you, which means you will start moving from bad relationships to good relationships. You will start moving from needing something to always giving something. You will start moving towards prosperity, abundance. When you are only a giver because you don't have anything to take, the nature gives you in abundance. I'll tell you some experiments in life which I have done. Corona சமயத்துல there was no one to interact with. Only I was with my mom, and I used to go to my terrace and spend time with this coconut tree. Okay, there are some 27 coconut trees around my house. And the coconut tree பார்க்கும்போது, I wanted to know whether coconut tree will react to the way I talk. I've never done this experiment. So in the first 1 week, I started going near the coconut tree. I'll talk to it, come, and all of that. It never came. But slowly from my second week, I started hugging the tree. I put my hand, the leaves started coming towards me. I was shocked. I thought it was randomness. Whenever I went and did this, there is a slight breeze. Now, I don't need science to prove whether it is correlation, it is random. Yeah, life, the tree is talking to me. That's my reality. I experience it and it happens. Similarly, in the Mari, start associating with different things of the universe and experiment to become socially, physically, spiritually, emotionally, the maximum possibilities, so that you can never be bound. I'm very selfish about sharing this with you. You know why? We live in a world where politicians, religion, courses, Instagram influencers, everyone is influencing and deciding how you should live. உங்களுக்கு வந்து, you need to be independent. I want to live in a society where no religion, no politics, no lifestyle, no greed, no money can manipulate people around me. I want to live among people who are free. And because once they are free, they have more to give than to take from this entire universe. And universe loves those people. Another important thing which you need to keep yourself a little away from is religion. I'm not saying give up your religion. I'm saying all the religions tell you ways to God. I don't want to get into whether God exists or not. I am saying do your own research. Don't arrive at conclusions. Whether it is an atheist or a believer, both of them are in the same boat according to me. Because both of them have concluded whether there is God or not. Someone is telling there is God because some messenger said there is God. Because of some stories they say there is God. But have you seen God? Have you experienced it? Now, if someone says just by following my rules you'll experience God, maybe you should try all the rules. Why should you stick to one religion? Read about God in all aspects of religion, but you need to experience it on your own. Now, God is an important part to be a part of life, because with this, the entire world politics is placed. It's either geographical identity, language identity, or religious identity. Only with these manipulations, if I am in power, I will ensure that I'll get what I want from you. And this manipulation happens across generations and generations. Now, you need to be independent of all of it. You don't even need to be a non-believer, because non-believer is another group of people who will try to manipulate you because you're a non-believer. You need to make your own judgments and not be manipulated by it. I want to live in a world which is free. I know that I can't change the world, but all I know is if I have a few people around me, I don't know if I can change the world. என்னோட சுத்து வட்டாரத்துல people who can never be manipulated under the name of religion, politics, name, language, emotions, relationships, money, nothing. Because these free beings have more to give than to take from this entire universe.